Yeah, yeah. Mr. Independent thought, I don't fuck with thoughts. The I am my name, say I'm hard to stop. Invisibility code activated. Business all on my face like I already made it. Taking niggas to school, they all degraded. Don't care about your nigga, yeah, I'm the greatest. Muhammad Ali, all up in my vein. And you can say what you want, nigga, I ain't changing. Chick in the other room, already changing. Fucked up part main, I ain't even famous. Weatherman, nigga, we hurricaning. Rain, sleet, snow, hell, we the main event.
The Black community, because the things that go viral are like,
and it's recording now. I'm just letting you know it's recording.
Okay. Yeah, so like the things that go viral are negative. It's the drama, the baby mamas, the dads, like just negativity. And it's like, if I can add some positivity and encourage somebody, I'm gonna do that. So it is a lot of work. But I definitely, it's rewarding to me because I get a lot of messages that are like, thank you so much, like your words, and sometimes I feel like people don't read the captions, but they're like, no, I read the captions. So that is encouraging to me to keep writing them and, you know, putting my time and effort into them. So,
you know, it's okay. So I told you that I have a meteorology degree and stuff. I'm a big science person. You seem to be very science-based yourself, and you know, I kind of like, because I talk about mental health and stuff too. I feel like it's like you're told when you do bad, but you're not told when you do well. So like, I think sometimes people may not want to quote unquote blow your head up, right? And I'm like, dude, like just say it. Like more people need to hear that shit. As a meteorologist, that's my like degree right there, and the little thing, like. You don't. I mean, all right, Michael Jordan, even better. When he misses a shot, it's like, dang, you missed. You know, everybody's like, ah. But naturally, the brain, and you might know this too, defaults to negativity. It's just how our brains work. That's why the news puts negative stuff up there to draw you in, because there's more people suffering than there are people in a good place. So you're playing into your market. You know?
See, I think there's more people doing well and there's more positivity than so negativity, but I feel like the news is fear-based, so they want to scare the hell out of everybody so they can somewhat dictate their what they do in life, like, oh, don't go over here, don't go over there, and it's like, well, why not? It's not what it's portrayed to be.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying. I think I was thinking about, when I said that, I was thinking about like, okay, so you take the globe and you factor in things like hunger, being able to pay bills, different things like that. How many people do you think love their job in the world? What percent?
Probably not many.
Right? Doesn't mean you can't have a positive mindset, but it's 26% love what they do. So like, I want to try to get, that's what I'm going off of. I mean, you may be right. I don't know. Shit, we could do a project. But I think that it's important that when we look at the data, to be like, okay, let's get that 26 to 30 to 40, right? Let's get that. And then even better, let's do it in the Black community. Let's get the data. Let's figure out what that is, because you and I both know the BMI chart is different for people of color. Like there's lots of things that are different. But I love how positive you are. I think that's amazing. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it doesn't come across as something that is like in a fantasy world. I think it's just your aura, which I think is awesome. Me, I'm more so Malcolm X compared to MLK, which should be a philosophy. I believe in force, but I mean, I'm a guy, right? You know what I mean? So, but that doesn't mean that we can't coexist. And I think that's actually a great balance.
You have to have the balance.
Yes, absolutely. So that's awesome. Okay, so I think this is still recording. I think it is. So yeah, I mean, that's dope. And then also too, so like let me ask you this. Let's talk about, like, you know, where you're from. Like, tell me more about you, like, so I can get to learn more about you. I'm eating these eggs just while I'm hungry. So.
Oh, no worries. I'm about to make a cup of coffee.
Do it.
So I live in Las Vegas, so I always tag Las Vegas, and people think, I don't know if they think I'm just tagging it to tag it, but I do live here. I've been in Vegas, gosh, like 20 years.
So you've seen it build up.
Huh?
So you've seen it build up.
Oh, it's changed.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I already know
how much it's changed. I mean, they're building like crazy, which is expected. I mean, they're building like crazy in most popular markets, so it's not out of the ordinary. But yeah, I've seen it go from nothing and run down to like, okay, they're investing and it's good because it's turning things around. But yeah, I went to UNLV. I have a degree in kinesiology, so that's why sometimes I'll post about like health as well. Because I genuinely believe like your lifestyle habits, the things that you put into your body, how you choose to move your body, they all play a role in your quality of life now, but more so later on. Especially later on. Like I always say, everything you do in the present, it's either going to catch up to you in a good way or a bad way in the future. And people, they just don't realize. But my mom takes care of seniors, and so I've always been around the elderly. And so, you know, just understanding how the food you eat, how much water you drink, how active you are, all of that plays a role into how you age.
Facts. That's 100% true.
Yeah, so I'm really big on like wellness and quality of life and being active. And you know, you don't necessarily have to be in the gym for 2-3 hours a day, but you need to walk, you need to take the stairs, you need to drink your water, you need to move your body, because if you don't, it sounds cliche and like dumb, but it's so spot on. If you don't use it, you lose it.
You lose that shit.
And so it's like, you gotta move. You may not want to move, but you need to. Some of the things that are best for us, we don't want to do.
Yeah, you know, it's so funny. Like you have that's that reality realm. Your mom working with seniors. You know, like a lot of people are not connected to having a green thumb, or like how they have a food delivery service here called Deliveroo. And those Talabat and Deliveroo drivers, they're men. None of them are women. So the men have that reality. The men have that reality of the elements. You know, it's a desert. Like you live in the desert, it's hot as fuck. So like they're hit with that every day. I think by you being hit with that, and me, I mean, I've lived in the homeless shelter for a long story, but like having that ground you is so important, and I think that's a nice balance to be successful, to be honest, in my opinion, and to be able to connect with your audience.
Yeah, I just love seniors. Like I just learned the importance of like taking care of yourself. And even like I have personal like health and fitness and goals like that for like what I want to do to improve my health. But it's like, even if you just walk.
Yeah.
Just walk. Like people just don't understand how something so simple can make a long-lasting impact on their health and well-being. And a lot of people are depressed. A lot of people have anxiety and like all these clinical issues, not only because of their like chemical imbalances, but it's a lot of it is brought on by the food that they eat.
Absolutely true. And the food system is definitely different in America than abroad.
Oh, I know. I've been to multiple countries, and I'm like, I don't know what they're feeding us in America, but it's not this. I went to Italy it wasn't a couple years, probably like 5 years ago, and I have never tasted tomatoes like that. And I eat organic tomatoes. I buy, if I can find it organic, I'm going to buy it organic, just because I don't like, if I can limit the amount of processed foods and like GMO things that I'm going to have, I'm going to do it. And so like the tomatoes that I had in Italy, I've never tasted tomatoes like that ever.
Bruh.
Never. The meat, it melted. It was just so different. Even in France, had meat, and even the bread, like, I don't know what they're feeding us here.
You're getting good flashbacks right now. I can tell you're getting good flashbacks. You're like, hold up.
Know.
But that's real. Like I even noticed the milk that we get, it goes bad like in 3-4 days.
Really?
Like 3-4, maybe 5 days.
That is what it's. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you're supposed to. And then I worked in a restaurant. One of the jobs I worked at is a restaurant. I'm like, yo, we waste so much food too. But yeah, like that's okay. So that's really cool. Like so like what's your main is like what's your like main hustle? What's your main way? I hate saying what do you do because in DC I lived in DC 7 years. What do you do? A lot of people ask that question. Is like trying to find how much money they make. I hate that shit. It doesn't matter to me. I don't give a damn if you're broke. It doesn't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just curious. Like, what's your day to day thing? Is like your brand, your day to day, kind of like mine. And or like what is that? How's your schedule?
Well, I actually just got a job. I have been working for myself probably about the past 2 years.
Okay.
But I ended up needing like some work on my teeth, and I paid out of pocket, and I was like,
"That's just rough." Mm-hmm.
I was like, maybe we'll get a job for like stable income and then for the health benefits because I was like, I can work and have clients and I can increase and scale, but I can also do that and build a team.
Right.
And like have more money coming in.
Yeah. Diversify your portfolio.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? It's good to have both. Because I talk about entrepreneurship a lot. And I learned that over the past 2 years because I used to work at a bank and I quit my job in 2020, like the thick of the pandemic, because I just hated it. Like I'm a big proponent of if you don't like your environment, you have the authority, the power, the say so to change it. Like why would you allow any outside circumstances that are within your control to dictate what you do? And so because I hated my job so much and I could feel my personality changing, like I'm not an argumentative person.
But that got to you.
I don't like conflict. I mean, I'll resolve like conflict and address it, but I'm not going to seek it out. And I found myself getting like a kick out of telling people no and being not rude, but just not being myself. And I was like, okay, I got to go.
Yep.
I have to go because this is not who I am.
Right.
I'm a very helpful person. If I can connect something or do something to help someone out, I'm going to do it. And so when that switch happened, I was like, I got to go. So I quit. And I worked for myself. And I still work for myself. Like I still have clients that I make. I do social media content. So I have small business clients that I work with and I create their content, manage their pages and do all that. So those are my two main sources of income right now. So, I mean, I like it. My job it's okay. I'm like, to me, it's a stepping stone. It's like, this is my in-between time between either scaling my business or pivoting into something else. So that's where I'm at right now. But I'm like, I really like creating content like that, being creative and just, I don't know. I just enjoy what I do as far as like Instagram and content wise and videos and things like that. So
you like impact. You like, you should do an MBTI test, and figure out like who you are. I go between ESTP and ESTJ.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, this is the two things I tell any company CEO: do a ancestry test for your employees, and do a MBTI test. It's a Myers-Briggs test. It tells you there's 16 personalities. Most issues within companies and people are just personality differences. Okay.
Very true.
I know this. I've been through this. Look, okay, so you've known me long enough. Have I ever disrespected you?
No.
Didn't think so. I noticed that. Well, I say live as genius because I am a genius. And the reason why I say I'm a genius is not because of ego, it's because I was diagnosed with bipolar 1 and PTSD and anxiety. If you have been diagnosed with bipolar or having bipolar, you are a genius. Hands down, period. And you are because of your genius, you have bipolar. It's not the other way around. Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Kanye.
Yes. So the thing is, all right, so I dabble in it. My biggest problem is I have a huge problem sleeping. That's my biggest problem.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a step, like if somebody, that's anybody. But I think that allowing people like Elon Musk, all these people, like I think sometimes people use that label, and America loves labels. They use that label to kind of be like, oh, see, that's that. See that? No, it's not always that. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm trying to show people that, like, even though there's one, bipolar 2, that doesn't mean that there isn't like 3, 4, 5, or that doesn't mean that this is just a personality. So one of the projects I want to do is try to figure out, get a brain scan on my head to check out my gray matter, which actually is one of the things that like people have. So really,
yeah, your gray and white matter.
Yeah, exactly. So really get into the science. And the reason why, so that's where Black Male Geniuses came from, is people like who have bipolar normally make history. And ironically, I've made history already. So it's like, oh man, damn, it was really bad. Like I was like, about 6, 7 months. And I was like, you know what? Let me start researching people who are Winston Churchill, history, very creative, you know. And honestly, when it comes to Black people, chances are a lot of us, maybe we've had to be damn near geniuses. We're made from the strongest slaves. So I'm really trying to culminate a lot of these different things. And the reason why, and you already know as a sister, the reason why I said Black Male Geniuses is not because I'm anti-sister, I'm anti-bullshit. And it's because I know that a lot of sisters have a lot more platforms and a lot more support. You know what I'm saying? They're allowed to speak out. And you already know that. So that's
really, you know
what's up?
I don't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. I'll tell you. You know what's funny? When I first started the page, I was like, do I create a female page and cater to women? Or do I cater to everyone who wants to be encouraged? And so I thought about my cousins who are, they're young adults. They're young adult males. And it's like, I would want them to be encouraged by whatever I'm saying, because that's I do that in real life. Like I talk to them and I encourage them. Like that's just who I am. And so when I was making my decision, because I can make content for anything. Right. I was like, you know what? There's not a lot of male encouragement. There's not a lot of pages that are positive, encouraging, and not necessarily cater to men, because I have a lot of women followers also, but I just wanted to kind of encourage men first, and then, you know, women are going to come to it. Just because I feel like men are, what's the word I'm looking for? You guys are almost being silenced right now, especially if you're like an alpha male. Like if you say something wrong, it's you're toxic, you're misogynistic. That's a fucking buzzword. They love
any of those icks, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, the not necessarily a traditional male, but the strong male figures are being silenced because they're being bashed for being too manly,
and killed, literally killed. How many Black male stars have just
yeah, and it's like, but you need strong men. You need strong men to lead families. You need strong men to lead in society. Just for it to function properly. And that's not to say there's not strong women that women don't contribute, but the dynamics, it's different. You know, you're biologically always going to be stronger than me because of how your body is.
And have to be. Like for survival, 200,000 years. Yes. Like, and that's not to say I'm a weak woman. It's just my body is biologically built differently. And when you put the two together, it's a balance. In my mind, it's a balance. Men have attributes and strengths that women do not, and vice versa. Women are very strong in their own respective ways. And when they come together, to me it's a well balanced. I mean, that's aside from like psychological things, but like for the most part, it's a balance.
So that I just thought it was interesting that you said that, because that was one of the things I thought about when I was making the pages, you know, being encouraging to men, because there's so much encouragement for women. Like, there's a page for everything.
Yeah. You have to think about your audience, like when you're creating stuff. There's a lot of things, and that's one of the reasons I love CEOs. I've been meeting so many of them. I just met the CEO, one of the Middle East managers for KLM, and we're gonna have lunch when he gets back. Real cool dude. He didn't know I was in Kings Day, and then I want to get a property out there one day, maybe 5-year plan. He doesn't know, like, cool as hell. I just I met like some HR manager from the States. Of course, as a woman, you know, that HR is mostly women. And I was like, I wouldn't be here if it was through a company transfer. I had to do that shit myself. She was like, I was like, there's a lot of things that are very unique to African American men that are still unique from black women to black men. I mean, we are the bottom. Like, I always say this thing. Did you know that African American women and their purchasing power and their stuff is damn near on the same accord as white women now? And I don't doubt it. I'm not saying they don't go through oppression, but they've literally said that it's about the same. Yes, you're going to be black. I get it. But you're being uplifted, which is cool, which is great. But they not going to lift up our black asses. They're not going to do it in America. No. They're not going to do it. Why would they do that if they want power? Period. Economic castration is what Dr. Umar said. Don't fully agree with like how he talks about like race and that you should be with this one color. So I disagree with that, because we ain't all black is not a in itself. We made it a culture, but it is not a culture. It's a void. Literally calling someone black is void of something. You know, I mean, you've traveled enough. People don't even really call me black outside of America.
They call you American.
Exactly, which is what we could talk about too. But I don't know. I just felt like you're right. Like, we don't get encouragement, and that's why we don't say shit. That's another reason we don't say shit. But I would much rather take hits for prolonging humanity in science than not. And I think last thing I'm gonna say before I let you speak is, I think it's dangerous for people to go with the herd because they just can't take any more shit, so to speak. And that goes back to what I was saying. I think most people, especially now, they're struggling. You know, now you ask me the question, is there more good on this earth and more evil on this earth? Absolutely more good, because it still exists. So if you break that up. But I think that I labeled it stick with black male because I was like, you know what? I get all these men telling me the same thing. And I'm like, and I'm talking to all sorts of people. I mean, I am black. I probably know more black people than white people. I am black. That's just natural. So it's like, why am I being told something isn't true when I know it is true? And that's when I really started talking about narcissism too, because I know what reality is, but people aren't really ready to deal with it. And that's dangerous for humanity. So.
No, I agree. I don't know. I just think we're in an interesting time right now where it's just a little chaotic. It feels like, in every respect. It's just, especially in the States, it's just chaotic. And the thing is, if we don't come together and build, whether that's with people who look like us or people who don't look like us, we're heading down a dangerous path. Like, you have to be able, like, I'm mixed. My mom is Mexican, white, and Filipino, and my dad is black.
Hey.
So, like, I see it from a different point of view. Like, I can't relate to, like I have friends who are dark-skinned black women. I don't understand I can hear them, but I've never experienced, you know, not the passive aggressive, the backhanded compliments, like they post those online. Like, I can empathize with that, but I have not experienced that because I wouldn't say I'm light skinned, but I'm fairer than they are. And so my experience is different. And even being mixed, you know, I can empathize with black women, but my experience is different. So I think the direction that we're going in, if people are not able to empathize and understand and they're not being allowed to do so, we're going down a dangerous path, because we have to be able to build as a community as far as like Black people, but we also have to be able to build with others. And I think that there's such a polarization going on right now where it's like, you don't look like me, I'm not going to build with you. But it's like, if you look at the numbers, if you're only going to build with people who look like you, you're going to miss out on a bigger market.
Especially as a sister in America, because there's not enough Black men if you want one. And then what you said was great. The numbers, you said so much that was so good. Numbers, and it's funny how in our community they like to filter out and choose when to push and take your Blackness, which I don't care about.
Yeah,
but
I get
that's slavery mentality. That is what the slave masters did. They're literally doing what but all that stuff you talked about, Black and white thinking, division, all that stuff is narcissism. That is the full umbrella of everything that is going on. And it's so, like, I've been talking about this since 2012. I started feeling it when I was a kid, autistic family unit. But then I felt it in my job, and I was like, damn, this is like reliving my childhood. I'm like, the person that gets labeled, I'm always a scapegoat, and it's being perpetuated as if I'm playing victim. And I'm like, dude, number one, I'm a Black dude, so that should tell you enough. That's the same principle that is used when Black dudes are being killed by the police and are unarmed, but it's their fault, right? Black person strike one, Black dude strike two. There's a thing that kind of says that, right? But I noticed, like, I'm always in court. Like, I was like, damn, I'm in court for workplace bullying, and I'm standing up for myself. Another Black dude, a Black dude that thought was my friend, drove my car while I was in Europe and crashed it. Didn't do anything about it. Had to take him to court. Well, he could have just worked it out. Damn, that's right. Always in court, and the perception is, damn, he's doing something wrong because he's always in court.
Right.
But there's a bigger thing. So I was like, you know what? That's what made me like, I gotta say something. If I was silent during that shit, then people are gonna just use that narrative.
Right, and just kind of box you in like, oh, he's a bad person, or oh, he's irresponsible, or just because like you said earlier, America loves labels.
Yes.
And they would absolutely label you as a problem versus a solution to the circumstances that you are in.
Correct.
It's like you didn't crash the car, but you're dealing with the fallout. What happened. You didn't cause it, but you are finding the solution, and there you are. You are a person that finds solutions versus, oh, well, I guess I'll just deal with it. Never. Like that.
Another nigga in court. Like, that's what it is. Another nigga in court. Whether it's daddy, that's what it. Ignore the fact that I wanted to be a meteorologist. Ignore that I have this degree. Ignore the fact that I got a sportsmanship finalist award. Ignore all of this other accolades that I had to earn. This is my cousin. He died at 33 from a heart issue. So I took a picture before I went homeless the first time. But all these things made me become homeless. I could not find a job. Nobody would hire me. I have literally evidence of over 1,000 jobs I applied for.
Really?
That's a big reason.
It's a testament to show how determined you are, that even though all of these unfortunate circumstances happen to you, that you have still managed to build a great life for yourself. Like,
have to. Thank you.
And that is so respectable, because a lot of people would have given up.
Or not even thought.
Yeah, they would have just been like, oh, well, I'll just stay at this job that I hate, or that's bullying me, and I'll just deal with it. Because a lot of people do deal with things, and then
every day. And
then it's like, well, your quality of life is terrible because you're miserable.
Right.
So you can't really enjoy your day to day. You can't really enjoy your outings with others because mentally you're in despair.
You're a punching bag.
Yeah, so it's like the fact that you went through all of that, and homelessness is no joke. The fact that you overcame that, and are living are you in Dubai or the UAE?
Yeah, I'm in Dubai.
Like, that's huge.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
you didn't just lay down and take it. You know,
Yeah.
you fought your
Yeah.
way through, you moved strategically, you planned it out, and you made a way for yourself. And I think that is what more people need to hear of. Whereas, like, especially in the Black community, I remember I forgot who I posted. And it was like months ago, sometime last year. I posted someone and they were like a pro-Black kind of page, and they're like, well, essentially what they were saying was the man is not going to allow us to win. And so my response was, so what, do you not try? Like, do you just roll over and take it? Like, no. To me, and my opinion, absolutely not. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone's doing. So long as I have fight in me, I'm a fight.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what odds are stacked against me. I'll fight until the day I die. Like, that's just how I see it. So it's like this narrative that's being pushed that, oh, because you're Black, you can't do X, Y, Z. It's like, actually, I can do whatever I want to. And I'm going to do whatever I want to. You can't tell me that I can't do something. You're not going to put limitations on me. The only one that can put limitations on myself, I put the limitations on myself, or I take them off. So I don't like the narrative that's being pushed that if you look like this, you're from this place, you sound like this, you can't do these things. It's like, you can do whatever you're willing to work for. Yeah. And it may not work out exactly how you plan it, but you would be better off than not trying. So I love that you didn't allow your circumstances to become your reality. You made a new way for yourself.
Yeah. You know, going through that, what I learned is like and this was tough. Most of the people that I came across who were sisters, unfortunately, treated me the worst, whether it was social work, whether it was a lawyer I had to switch. And that made me sad. I was like, but there's a general contempt for our women with our men. There's a general contempt. And I know where it comes from. I've done the research. I know where it comes from. But that's another story another day. But I think it's important when you tell your story, it's important to say what really happened. You know, like you have to tell the best stories. They have the downs. Like you got to talk about that. But I think it's been 2 years and 4 days. 2 years. What I want to say is, people just when they heard I was in Dubai, they completely omitted everything else that had happened. That I was living in my car in the pandemic. I got video and all that. I think that's dangerous, and I think that's a lack of empathy, which is what a narcissist doesn't have, right? I think it's dangerous, and why there's so many school shootings is because people will just, again, like you said, focus on the microcosm. Oh, but you're here now. You have to, somebody told me, a friend helps you get through something, not over it. That's a level of empathy. That is one thing that I've learned. And I think one of the reasons why I've been voted as a teammate is I have that balance of empathy and pushing forward. And I think it's important when it comes to mental health to let people know that, like you said, you have to get into society. I went through it twice. You have to get into society. Not only as an African American male was I castrated in my health system, which is racist as hell. You're castrated economically. You're castrated from your family. You're castrated into so many other things that are different. And now I think the hardest part is everybody's back again or trying to get back again. I think that's probably the most painful part. And so, like, hey, you can't, family or not. Nope. But the beautiful thing is recognizing that, meeting new people like yourself, and like I said, understanding that people have to have their time to heal. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you have not had that happen. Woods and all that stuff in the wintertime, summertime. If you have not had that happen, I think it's important for people to, like, even if they don't fully know, it's important not to just, all right, let's move on. Like, it's important because you may have some scenarios and you may not have something you want to get off your chest. But I say that to say, um, uh, the fight that you talk about is so necessary. If I had not have done that, or if you hadn't have fought or let people feel it, they would not learn their lesson. I mean, look at the world now. There has to be some sort of resistance.
There has to be, because otherwise you just have weak people walking around, which is what I feel is happening today. It's everyone wants to be coddled. No one wants to feel and deal with their emotions and what's happening in their lives, and they don't want to take accountability for it. So yes, those external things that happen to you that are unexpected. My dog bit another dog, and I had to deal with that today. It's like that was out of my it was somewhat in my control. I should have been paying attention. But it's like I had to deal with that. And would I have liked to spend my morning a different way? Absolutely. But you have to deal with the situations that arise in life, whether they be challenges, whether they be something that can be crippling. Like I always use the example. There's a family in my church who they lost their daughter. She was, I think, 15 or 16. She was riding an ATV in the desert, and it flipped and crushed her. And then 3 months later, their son was, I don't know if he was delivering pizzas or if he was selling CDs. It was one of the two. He was gunned down.
Yeah.
In Vegas. Yeah, within 3 months they lost both of their kids. No, this was a while ago.
Oh yeah, they're not gonna recover from that. That's rough. Yeah, and you lose kids.
Well, they did. They stayed in church. Like they dealt with it. They processed it. They went through therapy. So it's like no parent ever wants to lose their child.
Yeah, of course.
But the strength that they had to continue and to fight through that and to deal with it.
Yeah.
That is what always reminds me, like, just keep going. Like nothing in your life right now is as bad as that.
Oh yeah, so, and that's why stories are great. That's what I was saying. Like hearing those stories, we need to hear more of those stories. There's a night called Fuck Up Nights, like in Seattle. I don't know if you heard that, but like people make stuff, but that's good. Like hearing those stories to be able to kind of like, it's kind of hard to compare, but it's like people need to hear those things. Like it was you and then the senior assisted living and maybe other stuff, me and just growing up in the projects or whatever. Like that stuff builds character. And also, like you said, community was the biggest healer, I think, to me, even though I'm doing therapy. I think community was. Like, when you're homeless, you lose your community. You may have like a homeless community, which is fine. I'm still cool with them. But that community is what helps you, I think, heal the most. Whether it's my football team, no matter what I was going through, I met a guy who had been homeless too. We business partners now. He's from Germany. He's playing pro ball. Like I thought belonging was the biggest thing. And I think in the States, with it being individualistic in general, that's why a lot of people keep peeling off the scab, which is why I think we have like a lot of the school shootings. But I think that's awesome. Community is so important.
Community is huge. Like we are meant and built and supposed to live in community with other people.
Absolutely.
Like, because there's power in knowing, oh, I can go to this person and I can ask for help, or I can go to this person and I can be of service to them, because you're building relationship. And like no one person knows everything.
Yeah.
No one person can do everything. So it's like, why would you try to take on everything when you can just branch out and ask someone for help? And I think that's another thing that a lot of people are not comfortable doing, is asking for help. It's like you have to get to a point where you know yourself and can say, you know what, I can't handle this. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying you can't handle something. But I think there's like a stigma that, oh, you have to be able to do everything. You're supposed to do everything.
You're
Yeah,
needy.
you're needy, and it's like,
That's a
no,
big thing.
there's
Guys,
nothing wrong
I've been
with
told I'm needy
asking.
because I needed help, and I'm like, I needed a lawyer, bitch. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
There's a huge difference
Yeah.
between being needy and needing assistance. And I think
Say that
until
one
we're
more time,
able
please.
to,
Say that again. Say that
Oh,
again.
there's a difference between being needy and needing assistance. Like
Correct.
a huge difference. And so
Correct.
I think we need to get over that hurdle of being afraid to ask for help. But I think that falls into like being able to communicate, knowing yourself, knowing your abilities, knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, and the areas you need to improve. And until people like get to know themselves and start building community and realizing like, oh, I can't ask my friends for help, even though we may not want to.
Or maybe they can't help with that thing, and that's
Yeah.
where the boundaries come in. Yeah. Yeah.
But they may know someone who knows someone. Like that's the important thing about being in community with people. I may not know how to do roofs, but I may know someone who knows how to put your roof on, and I'm going to connect you with them. I may not know how to.
Yeah.
I may not know how to walk you through a divorce because I've never been through one, but I can connect you with a great therapist who can help you through that. Like that's the important thing about community. It's more so, to me, it's like building relationships and meeting resources. Like somebody always knows somebody.
Oh, for sure. Even
so
people
it's
like,
so it's like, why would you intentionally do life by yourself when you're not meant to do life by yourself? Like, to me, that just makes it harder. Like life is already hard. It's already challenging. There's always going to be an up and a down. It's just the ebbs and flows of life. So why would you willingly choose to paddle in a boat by yourself, whereas you can have a crew and you can paddle together?
Yep. It's like, but that's why narcissism's so bad. They said it can literally undo our species as we know it. And I said this years ago, but so many good points. I think like digesting that, I think I know that outside looking was a very angry person, still kind of am, but that's a normal thing for injustice. I mean, the way you deal with it is important. I ain't go out there and hurt nobody. I didn't do anything. I think that it's important, like you broke it into two pieces. Being angry is not the problem. It's what you do with the anger. And I think that I was a microcosm of how America is. I was turned into this missile. And I don't want people to turn, good people like they are being turned into a fucking missile. And that's what's happening. Literally seeing all these things going on, it's because that person snapped, that person snapped, that person snapped. And so my solution is more vacation time. Take the top off the lid. Take the top off. But they want to keep us in these cubicles. People ain't going back to work now, which is a whole other discussion. But I am very honored to have had this conversation because it's so different than like typing. And now you've seen me, you know a little about me, I know a little bit about yourself. And we could I'll send you this. We'll definitely it's gonna flow like this. Like it's not something that I'm structured, but I'm not extremely I'm a blue collar guy. So whatever you want to talk about, if you want to do some curse words, whatever, I think it'll connect with the audience because in my experience, people don't like when shit is too
scripted and it doesn't come off as genuine.
There you go. That's
relatable.
Correct.
It's like, oh well, they had to say this, or it's just not genuine, and people don't connect to things that seem fake.
Yeah, people are big on this wave of authenticity and genuine now too. I'm just glad that people are embracing it more and you know what? But that's a beautiful thing. So, but I'll let you get the last word. I normally like people to get the last word. If there's anything that you want to tell me about yourself that I should know, like maybe like a defining moment in your life where you like where something clicked for you? I like those types of moments. Funny moment. You have the floor.
So I've dabbled in school. I graduated with my degree, but when I was debating on grad school, I was trying to figure out what to do. And one day my mom, I was talking to her, and I think I was talking about money, and she's like, you're chasing money. You need to figure out what you enjoy and what you want to do and stop chasing money. And not chasing money in the sense that I'm like, oh, I want a Bentley. Like, no. Money is a tool that I want to use to take care of my family and to do things in my community. Like, that's how I see money. Like, yeah, you're going to buy nice things here and there, but overall, it's the impact that you can make with money. And so when she told me that, I was like, I was a little taken aback at the moment because I was like, I'm chasing money. And then I had to reflect, like, okay, maybe I am chasing money because I was doing this. I was going to apply to this grad school. I was going to apply to this different grad school. And it's like, well, you're kind of all over the place. What is it that you enjoy doing? What is it that you want to do? And what is it that you can see yourself doing in 20 years? And so that was like a defining moment for me. It was like, you know what? When you're doing what you're supposed to do, the money's going to come. When you're walking in your purpose, the money is going to come. Like, you don't have to chase money. It's going to come to you because you're going to attract it because you're walking in your purpose. Yeah, like it's gonna come to you. Yeah, so it's like, it's true. Why chase it? That means it's running away. So that was probably like a recent as in like 2, maybe 3 years ago. She said that to me, but it's stuck with me ever since because now I'm like, I'm more so intentional with what I'm doing, what I'm saying, who I'm spending time with, and those things, because it's like the money's coming and the money will continue to come. I just have to continue doing what I'm meant to do and let that be my reality.
That's awesome. I know I invested in this Mac last year. As far as business goes, thanks for the information on the Shopify stuff. Like I said, I have a lot of connections and stuff. If you need anything, I can help with anything, of course, ask. Because I think that sometimes people don't think that there can be win-win scenarios. I think sometimes people think that if you win, I gotta lose, and if I win, you gotta lose. But I think that's
not me.
I know we don't think that way, but it's just interesting, you know what I'm saying? So, okay, cool. Thank you for your time, and eventually I want to get to the point where I'm paying people for this stuff. So, thanks for investing early in your time because that's the most precious resource.
Of course, I appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to talking to you this week. This is a great conversation. I love the flow. I love your thought process and just your perspective on things. So it was good to talk to you, and I'm glad we were able to connect in real life versus, we connect in real life, but it's totally different when you talk to someone via video versus texting and things like that. So it was good.
It's not talking through a damn straw.
Yes.
All right, I'll see you later, okay?
Okay, bye. You have a great day.
All right, bye.
Bye.